in Kansas, 1897. I liked playing with my little sister, Mira. I was called a tomboy because I liked playing sports, football and baseball, and doing things girls my age didn't do when I was a kid. One time, my sister and I built a roller coaster in grandparents' backyard. After I crashed in it, I told my sister it was just like flying. I trained to be a nurse's aide after World War I. I decided I wanted to be a career in medicine, but that was before I discovered flying. I was living in California in 1920. I was 23 years old, and I went for a ride in a plane for the first time. It was wonderful. I fell in love with it. I decided to learn to fly. A few weeks later, I took my first lesson. 6 months after my first lesson, I bought my first plane. I called it the Canary because it was bright yellow, like a bird, a canary bird. I was the 16th woman to receive a pilot's license. People say I was most famous for my firsts. I'm best known for being the first woman to fly across the Atlantic Ocean. I did not like being just a passenger, so I flew it again, and this time I flew by myself. I was the first person to fly the Atlantic twice. I was also the first person to fly solo across the Pacific. I flew from Hawaii to California, and I landed my plane in Oakland. I was the first person to fly my plane solo from Mexico City to New Jersey. I was the first woman to receive the Distinguished Flying Cross. I loved flying, so I wrote and lectured about it. I wanted to become the first person to fly around the world. To do this, I decided to fly along the equator. Sadly, I never completed the flight. We came closer. We only had 7,000 miles left on our trip. When my navigator, Fred Noonan, and I took off on July 2nd, 1937, we were never heard from again. In my short life, I set lots of records, altitude and speed records for women. But one of the most important things I did for women was to show generations of girls there are no limits what you can do. All you have to do is set your mind to it and work hard. What was the nickname of my first plane? I'd take Jake. Canary? Yes. What was one thing I was famous for? Being the first woman to fly in plane. It's not the fruit, it's the woman. Okay. Gia. Oh, let me tell you one last thing about her. She was an author.
What did she write about?
Well, she lectured about remember when I said she
liked flying?
She lectured about flying the plane. She wrote a lecture about it.
Did she write up about what she talked about?
Yeah, she was an author. Let's get back to what was one thing I was famous for. Jake.
Being the first woman to fly across the Atlantic Ocean?
Twice.
Pacific.
No,
it was Atlantic.
Pacific once and the Atlantic twice. Sure, but let me get back to that one. Let me get back to that one to see if I got it. Yeah, she was the first person I was the first person to fly the Atlantic twice. Yeah.
The movie on your poster?
Oh gosh, I just want to share about the whole post.
Go ahead.
Yay. Okay. Person Amelia Earhart. The person I was famous for. Leadership, new ideas, being first and courage, and I just made up my own flying. Okay, Amelia Earhart. She was the 16th woman to receive a pilot's license. She was the first woman to fly across the Atlantic Ocean, and the second person to fly it twice. First person to fly Hawaii to Oakland. She named her first plane the Canary because it was bright yellow like a bird, a canary bird. Okay, I'm going to the extraordinary life of Amelia Earhart. She rode a roller coaster when 7 years old. Whee! Awesome. There's 8 after World War I. Plane crossing the Atlantic Ocean. Okay.
It looks like it's crashing into the ocean.
Yeah. Well, let's flag over the ocean. Because there's the ocean down here and there's the sky. Born July 24th, 1897. Died July 1937. And they don't exactly know, so I put a question mark there. Okay, quotable quote. Something important this person said. The most effective way to do it is to do it. Life lesson, something important I learned about this person. Always follow your dreams. 5 words. Okay, in 5 words. 5 words that describe this person. Intelligent, courageous, adventurous, inspirational, amazing. Final fact. One last thing you want to tell about your person. She never stopped cultivating herself. Super resources. To learn more about this person, here are some books and websites and resources. Amelia Earhart, Adventure in the Sky by Francis Savin. Dexter's Calm Biography, Women in Leadership, Amelia Earhart. PhD, The Extraordinary Life of Amelia Earhart. Documentary.
Questions or comments?
Or comments. Let's see. Oh gosh, that was like a lot of people. Dad, Mom, my auntie, who helped me do this, some more of this. And there was my grandma who helped me out. And one thing that helped me out is that like my aunt Ruth, which was the aunt who helped me in it, she said that she can learn something new, and she learned that she found out that she was a nurse's aide after World War I. Let's see, Jake.
My dad, this person is actually sort of like bored.
Yeah. I was walking to school once and I was talking to my dad and we were talking about Roberto Clemente and they think that they died in a plane crash and Amelia Earhart was she died kind of like him. Gio. She was in her like 40s or 30s. Oh my god. Yeah, she was at a young age when she did. Gavin. I forgot it now. Ryan. What?
Did she die before she on her way down?
Well, she had 7,000 miles left, so. There's so many like questions. They think that she died immediately, or else she got shot by some people, bad people, and there's some other things.
Or maybe she ran out of fuel and crashed into.
Yeah, that's also another thing. Or else the propeller.
How about one more?
Got jammed because the seagull got stuck in it.
Or maybe the last crash that happened.
Amelia, how about one more?
Yeah, Max is
I want to taste that.
No, one more.
Okay, Gabby, you can remember it again. Yeah, okay, Gabby.
One time when I was hearing about what you choose, it said like your name, and I was like, what? You put your name? It was like, oh, not Katie. name was actually Katie, but I was like confused.
First I'm like, oh man, I'm not going to be Amelia. Oh no, I'm not. And then I'm like, I asked to be a reporter. I wanted to be a reporter.